Though many may not remember it, it was just 35 years ago, December 17th, 1977, or early on the morning of the 18th to be exact, when one of the most memorable moments in music history occurred. In Studio 8H of what is now known as the 30 Rock Building, on the set of Saturday Night Live, one man had finally had enough with the way corporations were trying to dictate his career. Truth be told, the artist in question, one Elvis Costello, was actually not supposed to be the musical guest on the show that evening, but when the Sex Pistols were unable to get visas, they asked him to come in and perform at the last minute because he and his band The Attractions were touring in the area. Strangely enough, at the time of this performance, Costello's This Year's Model record wasn't even available in the United States other than as an import. So in a lot of ways, it was an odd choice for a musical guest, but choosing odd musical guests was never something new to Saturday Night Live. While there are many stories as to what was really behind the incident in question, it's most widely believed that it started as a disagreement between Costello and his record label over what song to play. Looking out for their financial interests, the record label insisted that he play the song Less Than Zero, since it had done well overseas and they were trying to get as much hype behind Costello as they could before releasing the album in the US in March of '78. Costello was very unhappy with this order from his record label, though it is true that the band did play Less Than Zero during all rehearsals, and the show's notoriously to-the-second timing was built around this performance. When it came time to finally perform live, the band started playing Less Than Zero, but after about 10 seconds, Elvis Costello turned around and stopped the band. He then turned and addressed the audience saying, "I'm sorry ladies and gentlemen, there's simply no reason for us to be playing this here," which many people have interpreted as Costello noting the fact that Less Than Zero was actually written to confront British politician Oswald Mosley. Regardless, after stopping the band, he instructed them to launch into the now iconic Radio, and for many reasons, it remains one of the most memorable moments not only in the history of music, but the show itself, because after it was over, Elvis Costello was banned from Saturday Night Live for more than a decade. The common belief is that he was banned for throwing the show off schedule, as the extra time he took stopping the band and playing a completely different song made it almost impossible for them to get the rest of the skits on that came on after his performance, as SNL is true to the live in its name. Years later, Elvis Costello said that he was inspired to do the song change by remembering when Jimi Hendrix had done the exact same thing years earlier on the BBC, when he and his band played Cream's Sunshine of Your Love instead of Hey Joe, and they were pulled off mid-song. The incident also caused a massive rift between Costello and his record label, but it did give him more hype than either of them could have ever imagined. While the incident itself lives on in television lore, on November 21st of 1998, Elvis Costello was actually able to pay tribute to the iconic moment thanks to none other than the Beastie Boys. As they came out for their second song of the night on Saturday Night Live, they started to play their song Sabotage. And after about 15 seconds, Elvis Costello came out and stopped the band and delivered once again his iconic phrase. Then, taking up his guitar, he and the Beastie Boys launched into one of the most raucous versions of Radio that has ever been performed. Though by modern standards, it may not seem to be a very defiant act, the fact of the matter is, 35 years ago, Elvis Costello pulled off one of the greatest acts of rebellion in the entire history of music.